So, got the chili. Let me get me a nice spoon. I'll cut me a piece of cornbread. See what this cornbread looks like. Alright, that's looking pretty good. Let's see the bottom. Got a little darkness to it, little crunchiness, but not burnt. Smells awesome. Alright, so let's try this out, shall we? What I'll need to do. Hey everybody, Mike Chavez coming at you once again. Welcome back to my channel. If you're new here, welcome. Alright y'all, Happy New Year. Today is the first day of 2026, January 1st. So, and it's cold outside, windy. So we're going to stay inside and we're going to make something nice and warm for the belly. We're going to make some chili, but not just any chili. Now this is called truck stop chili. I've made this before. It's really, really good. So the last time I made it, I smoked the meat that went on it. So we got a chuck roast that we smoked last time, but this time I'm gonna chop this up. I'm gonna chop it up. I got a new food processor for Christmas, a nice 14 cup Cuisinart food processor. So we're gonna grind this up with that. We're gonna grind it nice and coarse like they do in Texas. So this is kind of semi-Texas style, this truck stop chili. Starts off with bacon, got nice onions, good seasonings, chili powders, a little bit of tomato. We're going to cook this for about an hour or so, then we'll make some cornbread. Now I may not leave the recipe for the cornbread, but what I'll probably do is leave the link up here to my last video, which was red beans and rice with cornbread, and the cornbread recipe is in there. So y'all stick around. This is going to be really, really good, y'all. Alright, truck stop chili coming at you once again. Let's do it. Alright, to start our chili, we got here about a 2 1/4 pound beef chuck roast. Okay, so this has got some good marbling in it. So what I'm going to do, we're going to cut this up in chunks, fair sized chunks. Alright, put it out on a cutting board. Then I got my new Cuisinart food processor that I got for Christmas. We're going to grind our meat up in this. We're going to grind it nice and coarse for chili. We're going to do chili grind like they do in Texas. Okay, so in order to do this correctly, what we need to do is cut this up in nice chunks. So we'll cut it in kind of strips. Okay, down the middle again. So in about, we leave all the fat, cut it in about 1-inch chunks. Okay, what I'm going to do is put this on a sheet. Then I'm going to drop this in my freezer. I'm going to take this, put it in my big freezer for about 30 minutes. We don't want to freeze it all the way, but we want it semi-frozen. That'll make it grind up better. So I'm going to finish cutting this up. We're going to put this in the freezer outside, and then when I bring it back in, like I said, for about 30 minutes, when I bring it back in, I'll bring you back. We'll put it in the food processor and get it ground up. Alright y'all. Alright y'all, so we got this out of the freezer. So this is just nice and chilled, really nice. So we're going to put it in our food processor. So got us this Cuisinart 14 cup food processor for Christmas. So what I'm going to do is put about half of it in there. Put our lid on. Now we're just going to pulse this. See if you can see that good. We want this kind of nice and coarse. we got. Look at that. So that's nice and coarse. So we're going to set this back on this rack. We'll put our other half in there. There we go. All right, nice coarse ground beef. That's plenty. So let's go ahead and fix this beef up. All right, now one little trick I've learned for the beef, besides grinding it coarse, we'll take some baking soda. Put a good spoon for this, maybe 1.5. We'll mix some water with this a little bit. So a little baking soda, and this will keep it nice and tender and juicy as it cooks. So we'll put this on here, give it a mix. This changes the pH of the meat, as they say. I learned this, of course, I watch a lot of America's Test Kitchen. They teach you a lot of good stuff, and this is one of the tricks that they use a lot, and it works pretty well. Now if you're going to make hamburgers out of this, you'd want to not handle it too much, just kind of form it in patties. I'll probably do that here in the next month or so. So we got that mixed up, so I'm going to let this sit, put this in the fridge. Alright. Then we'll get the rest of the ingredients ready. Alright. Alright, so while we're waiting on the meat, I'm going to go ahead and cut me up some onion. So I'm just going to coarse chop some onion. About 3 or 4, 5 cloves of garlic. Of course, the way I chop my garlic, I always take the stem end off, give it a smash, get the peel off, smash it good, get it chopped up. Alright, so get all my garlic and onion chopped up, and I'll bring y'all back. Alright, so we got our onions cut up, garlic, onion. So this is really one very large onion, chopped coarse, about 4 or 5 cloves of garlic. Now, the recipe also calls for 1/4 to 1/2 pound of bacon. So we got here, there's about 1/4 pound of bacon here. So I'm going to cut this up in pieces. chopped bacon. So that's about a 1/4 pound there, I guess. We'll go with that. Alright y'all, to start this chili, I'm going to take my bacon, put it in a cold pot, turn the heat on. We're going to put this on medium, about medium low. We're going to take our time with this. If you do this too hot in one of these cast iron pots, it can scorch with the enamel lining. So let me get this going. I'm going to get this bacon rendered down. I'll take the bacon out. Then we'll put our meat in. Get that browned up, and then we'll put our vegetables in, and we'll put our all our seasonings. So I'm going to get my seasonings together, and we'll bring you back. I'll show you what's going in it. Alrighty then, so this bacon has been rendered pretty good. Got most of the fat out of it. I'm going to take it out of the pot for now. We will add it back later. So there's one thing I like about this chili. This is one of the only chili recipes I ever found that starts out with bacon. Alright. Now I'm using this ground up chuck roast, but you can use regular ground chuck from the grocery store, ground beef, whatever you like. Okay? And I've done this with a smoked chuck roast before, which was really good. Alright, so go ahead and get our beef in. We'll put about half of it to start with, I think. Actually, let's put it all. And what we're going to do is let it sit for a while and let the bottom get browned up. This is going to end up releasing a lot of juices. But I'm going to wash this tray off and put it back on this tray. Alright, I'm going to turn this heat up. Alright, y'all. I'm going to let the bottom of this get browned up, and we'll bring y'all back. That's a lot of meat. It's going to be a lot of chili. Alright. Alright, this has been going for a bit. You can see that it's starting to brown. It's coming through a little bit, so we're going to go ahead and flip this. There we go, look at that. It got nice and crusty brown on the bottom, what I wanted. Alright, break this up a bit. Alright y'all, so this beef is doing really well. So we got it browned up pretty good. So what I'm going to do, shut the heat off. So I wash this tray. So I'm going to get this beef out of here for a minute. Put me a little bit of olive oil in here. Let that get hot. So I've got my onion, this big old onion, and garlic, but we ain't going to put the garlic quite yet. So let's push our onion in. we'll get it cooking. We'll sweat this onion down. Might get a little bit of color on it, not too much. Alright then, so 1.5 tablespoons of ground cumin. So I got my whole cumino seed here. I ground it up. So it's 1.5 tablespoons. 3.5 tablespoons of chili powder. I'm using about this Badia good chili. This is pretty good chili powder right here. Alright. 2 tablespoons of paprika. So I got some smoked paprika. Also by Badia. It's good. This is pretty good good stuff, this Badia. Alright. Got black pepper, or a teaspoon of oregano. Right here we got Mexican oregano that I keep in my jar here. So a teaspoon of Mexican oregano, a teaspoon of black pepper right here, half a teaspoon of dried thyme, got that there, half a teaspoon of salt, and that's about it for the spice mix. We're going to put some adobo or some chipotles and adobo in it here in a little bit. But that's going to be for heat, so we don't want this too hot. So I'm coming back over here, get my onions cooked up a little bit. About there, I don't want to scorch the bottom of this pan too much. So now we'll add our garlic. Let that cook for a few seconds. Then we'll go ahead and add our spice mix. Everybody in. Everybody in the pool. Let that get going. Alright, got some beef stock here to deglaze with. So I'm going to put a couple of teaspoons of tomato paste. Let's go ahead and start deglazing this with our beef broth. It's getting a little done. Alright, let's put our meat back in. Alright, give this a mix. Alright, I got a can of San Marzano tomatoes. You can use whatever kind of tomatoes you like, fire roasted, whatever. Alright, so with these tomatoes, I'm going to crush them with my hands as I put them in. All right, I'm gonna wash my hands a little bit. All right, let's give this a mix. Oh, the other thing I want to do while I'm sitting here waiting, I'm going to go ahead and put 2 teaspoons of this chipotle and adobo. Okay, that's it, just 2 to start with. All right. I'm going to let it come to a simmer. I'm going to bring you back. Alright y'all, we're back. We're up to a simmer. Chili's looking nice and rich. It's not red. It's got a little brown, a little red. So, now it's time to leave it alone. We're going to put our lid on and we're going to leave it cracked. Alright, just leave it cracked a little bit. And set our timer for an hour. After an hour, we'll come back and taste it and see what else it needs. Might go ahead and put the beans in then and let it cook a little while longer. Alright y'all, we'll see you in an hour. Alright y'all, this has been cooking for about an hour and a half. I've come stirred it every once in a while. Make sure it ain't sticking, which it hadn't been. It's been doing really well. Really nice. So, let's go ahead. Now, if you want Texas style chili, don't do this next step. I'm doing this step for Mama. And I like beans every once in a while too. So what I got here is a can of red kidney beans, bushes. Put that in there. And a can of pinto beans. Now you could boil beans on the side and make them fresh if you want. That'd be best, but I didn't have time for all that today. So let's stir this up. Let's see what we got. Alright, I think after putting that in there, I think I'm going to put one more can of pintos in here. Just alright. Here we go. Stir that up. Alright. That's all the beans I'm putting. That's enough beans. Back in California when I was a kid, we called this chili beans. So, don't forget, put the bacon back in. Give it a stir. Alright, I'm going to put the lid on this and let it cook for a little while. I'm going to go ahead and make my cornbread. Like I said, I'm not going to leave the recipe in for the cornbread or the showing how the cornbread's made. My last video with the red beans and rice, my Cajun red beans and rice, has the cornbread in there along with the recipe. But I'll leave the recipe below for the cornbread too. So anyway, you put the lid on here, and however long it takes to make the cornbread, that's how long we'll cook this chili. Alright then. Alright y'all, chili's done. Let's look in the pot here real quick. Oh man, smells good, looks good. Plenty of beans, plenty of meat. Alright, very nice. Cornbread's done. Of course, I didn't film the cornbread, but like I said, I'm going to leave a link when I made this cornbread. Link will be right up here. You can see how I made this cornbread, and I'll leave the recipe or the ingredients list down below. So, let's serve this up, y'all. Alright. So, let's see here. Alright. Looking good. Now, I don't like to put a whole lot of stuff on my chili. You know, you could put cheese, more onion, whatever you like. So, got the chili. Let me get me a nice spoon. I'll cut me a piece of cornbread. Let's see what this cornbread looks like. Alright, that's looking pretty good. Let's see the bottom. It's got a little darkness to it, a little crunchiness, but not burnt. Smells awesome. Alright. So, let's try this out, shall we? Alright, y'all, here we go. Chili. Not just any chili. Truck stop chili with beans, okay? Original recipe don't have beans, but I put beans this time. So, we took a chuck roast, we cut it up, we chopped it in our food processor. Bacon, onions, garlic, all kinds of spices, chili powder, garlic. Alright, a little chipotle. So we're going to try this straight up first without cornbread. Look at that. Yummy. Put this down a little bit so we can see. I always forget that. Here we go. Good chili right here, y'all. Alright. Y'all ready for this? Taste! Oh man. So let's break off a piece of that cornbread with it. There we go. Taste! Mmm. Oh yeah. Cornbread makes it even better. One more time. Mmm. Alright, y'all. Good chili. So I hope you enjoyed the video. If you did, leave me a thumbs up. Got more videos over here for you to watch. And the video with the cornbread's right here too. That was in my red beans and rice video. And don't forget, if you haven't done it yet, hit that subscribe. Press right there. So, thanks for coming by. We'll see y'all next time. Happy New Year 2026. See you next time.